All right, y'all. It is time to shine. It is time to shine. I'm your host, King Jewelz here, Julian Smartrimple. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Run the Jewelz podcast show and vidcast series. If this is your first time joining us, welcome to the RTJ show as one of our Smart Jewel listeners. The RTJ Lifestyle Show was created to spread inspiration to young professionals and millennial entrepreneurs who want to learn wisdom on how to shine brighter in their careers or their businesses. And so if you are one of our fellow millennials, big up millennials. If you are a Gen Zer, we appreciate you tuning in and rocking with us for today's episode. But even if you're a baby boomer, we still got love for all of our baby boomers out there. If you are interested in being a guest on the RTJ show, if you are a dynamic king or queen, entrepreneur, or a young professional, and you have a phenomenal testimony that you would love to share, or even a product or a service that is trailblazing in your industry, we still have a few more slots for this season that are left. So please fill out the interest link that we're putting in the comment section below. And we appreciate all of our VIP jewels that have been with us shining bright for this season currently right now. You can listen to the RTJ Run the Jewelz podcast on Wisdom, on Twitter Spaces, and also on all podcast streaming platforms. Wherever you listen to your favorite music artist or your favorite podcast, give us a listen and even give us a review. But just see how we've gone from season 1 all the way to season 2 that we're releasing episodes, so you can track with us to see our progress throughout the current season that we are in. And so thanks again to all of our Smart Jewel listeners. If you have any questions, Wisdom or Twitter Space listeners that are getting exclusive access to today's episode, feel free to come onto the stage. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. This is a lifestyle live Q&A show. And so we also appreciate any comments or questions in the comment section. You can put any comments or questions that you have for my very special guests, and we'll do our best to answer them as best as we can. And so those are all of my housekeeping for today. Shout out to all of our listeners who have been rocking with us this season. We could not have made this a success for our podcast without you. Today's episode is powered by StreamYard. This is our platform that we use for the podcast. You can get $10 off with our exclusive discounted rate by clicking on the link that we're putting in the comment section below. And so shout out to StreamYard, who is our powered platform that we go by for our podcast today. But without further ado, today's episode title is How to Heal the Body Naturally Using Holistic Practices. If you are someone that is interested in going natural and using natural remedies, or even if you're someone that's trying to get your health intact and take it to the next level, I came across my very special guest that I'm getting ready to bring onto the stage by way of Instagram. Shout out to IG. And she's doing some phenomenal work in and also outside of the healthcare system, and teaching people how to heal the body naturally, and also remedies, foods, teas, herbs, you name it, that will help us through our healing process and also help us through naturalizing our body. And so I'm going to introduce you to my very special VIP guest, Miss Oksana, who is going to be dropping a ton of jewels for us today. Oksana, how are you doing today?
Hey, very good. Thank you for having me. I absolutely love your mission. Shine bright. And you know what? You can't shine if you don't have good health.
Yes, absolutely. And I know you know that just as much as us who are especially vegan or plant-based out here in the community. But thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to drop the jewels with us today. What we usually do, Oksana, is have our guests tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us where you're originally from, Oksana, and where you're tuning in for our episode today. And why is this an important subject for you to educate our audience on?
Yeah, so my name is Oksana. I'm tuning in from New Jersey. I lived here for 20 years. And before that, I lived in Ukraine. I was born and raised in Ukraine until the age of 20. I came here not knowing speaking English, and here I am. I studied nursing and I worked as a registered nurse for over a decade before I actually dove into natural field. And I left the traditional field of nursing to open my very own wellness center. I owned it for 5 years. And from that point, I turned into wellness coaching. And here I am, and I'm happy that I'm able to coach online because I can reach broader audience, more people, and hopefully help them turn their life around. So why is natural healing important to me? Because over the years, I came from traditional, very traditional, to and I watched how it influenced people's lives. And then in our family, something happened. My husband got sick, and we had no medical there was no medical intervention other than surgery to fix his problem. He had a very bad sinus issue to the point like he suffered for over 7 years. He had like bad nosebleeds. So I started searching. At that time, I still worked as a surgical nurse. So I was searching for natural solutions. And I discovered a solution, which was soul therapy. And this is how the idea of opening my very own wellness center was born. So we started there, and then we started with soul therapy. And then over the years, we added different modalities, and I learned many different modalities myself. And I discovered that, you know what, medicine has a place to be, but we came from nature. So if we get in touch with nature, we can take our life to a totally different level, from treating the symptoms, from bandaging a problem to actually preventing the problem from happening. So, and here I am. So I'm a registered nurse and a natural wellness coach now.
Absolutely. Shout out to all the registered nurses and also our healthcare workers and wellness practitioners out there like Oksana and others. But definitely we appreciate you, Oksana, for all of your work and dedication to the field of healing and restoring people's bodies and also just their well-being. And so for a shout out to our Wisdom and Twitter Space listeners, if you're just tuning in, we're here with my very special VIP guest, Oksana, who is going to be talking to us about how to incorporate natural remedies and holistic practices to heal the body naturally today. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section below, or even you can come onto the stage for Oksana to ask any questions you may have on this subject matter today. And so let's start from the beginning too. And also shout out to Ukraine too. I forgot to mention too, Oksana, we definitely want to give a big up to Ukraine and what's happening, especially from last year to this year. We definitely celebrate Ukraine. But talk to us about, like, in your upbringing, what got you interested to even go into, let's say, the wellness or even the healthcare industry? Did you have a family member or even potential friends or mentors that got you into the healthcare field? Like, how did you get involved in healthcare?
Yeah, no, I grew up in a very traditional family. There was no medical professionals in the family. But when I was graduating middle school, right, I really wanted to either become a nurse or better yet, become a doctor. But this was during transition time, very difficult, late 90s in Ukraine. And to be honest, even though I was an honor student in school, but you could not get into medical school or even a nursing school without a big payout, like to pay somebody under the table. And at that time, for me to get into medical school would cost like $10,000. That was, I'm talking 97. So can you imagine? $10,000 is a lot of money in Ukraine right now. But back then it was like, my gosh, my mom never saw this kind of money. So instead, what everybody at that time recommended their children to be practical. So I went and I studied environmental engineering, chemistry of water in particular, because it was considered to be, well, you graduate and you're going to be, you're going to have a good profession. You can find a job. So this is how I started. But then I came to United States, and my first job in United States, my first legal job, like a real job, not legal, real job, was in a nursing home. I was a nursing assistant. And it actually kicked in. I remember this is what I wanted to be. And I saw nurses doing like different jobs. And from there, I went and to a nursing school here in the United States. And this is where here I became a nurse.
Wow.
Yeah.
Stay with that point too. I don't want to cut you off. Stay with that point.
Yeah. Well, it actually, I'd be honest with you, it took me 5 times. I tried to take an entrance exam because my English was little. So only in the 5th time, and that was because somebody else dropped out like the last moment. They called me like a week before the school began because I was always a little short in English, meaning like you had to have so many points to get in. But then here I am, and I studied my first year. I studied with a dictionary. There was no smartphones back then. But look, I'm speaking now.
Absolutely. You speak very well English. And even for those who we love to celebrate different cultures internationally, my family is from Trinidad and Tobago, and we have family all over the world in Asia and Africa. For those who may not know, Oksana, tell people where Ukraine is if they have been sleeping under a rock for the last year and have not heard about Ukraine. And then tell us a little bit about what are some of your favorite things about Ukrainian culture.
Well, Ukraine is situated in Eastern Europe. It's when I left Ukraine, we had 53 million people. Now we have, I think, 47. Well, with the war, that was before the war happened. But it's a beautiful country. Absolutely love it. To be honest, I haven't visited much because my whole family came here, but I still am very much in touch with the culture. And I mean, every culture is special. I can't say Ukraine is more special than other culture, but what I love about our people that they have this faith in themselves. They go and do things. And I guess this is why we're still standing now. And we have culture, tradition, very much like other countries, but we are very in touch with these cultural traditions. And that I think that's very important. Like stay true to your roots while the world is changing, like change with the world, but still remember where you come from.
Absolutely. Yes, we definitely gotta celebrate our differences, but also know that we all are literally a part of this one life that we've been given. And so we have to make sure that we do celebrate and not tarnish other people's cultures. And so shout out to Ukraine again. And so if you're just tuning in, we're here with my very special guest, Oksana, who is speaking to us about how to incorporate natural remedies in your body. You all, we talk about health a lot on the RTJ show, but how to heal the body naturally using holistic practices. And so let's go ahead and dive in because I know you're very active in educating people, especially on your platforms that you are active on as a user. And so like talk to us, what is holistic health, or what is natural body or natural remedies that people may or may not have heard of before? Like what is the whole industry and the hype around holistic health and also holistic practices?
Yeah, holistic, very simple. As the name suggests, it means you look at the person as a whole, as one. That's why you can't say, you know what, let me just treat your heart, or let me just treat your liver, or maybe a leg, because it's going to be like you're just looking at one puzzle. So holistic is when you look at the body as a whole, and by fixing one thing or helping one thing to work more efficiently, everything else gets fixed naturally. Naturally is the process, like look at the nature around us. Nature does not plan anything, right? Nature doesn't write plans overnight or struggles. Nature just has every process seamlessly occurring. Everything is taught ahead of it. So this is what natural healing is about in holistic. So natural holistic is about self-healing that is easy and effortless, provided you help your body a little bit. That's it.
Absolutely. Y'all got to make sure that you are researching, especially as we're talking to Oksana, some of these health and holistic practices that you're going to be hearing about today. And so, Oksana, let's stay with that point too. Like, what are some holistic practices that you even were able to see that work on your body before you started educating others? and even like how did that affect your system and even how you operated on a day to day?
Yeah. So very simple. Some most basic holistic practices you can do has to do with your daily regimen, your sleep schedule, your water intake, your movement. So natural healing is not about some sophisticated practices, that are modern now in I'm talking about, for example, something you have to go and spend hundreds of dollars on. Those have a place to be too, but it starts with the basic free stuff. So we don't have to pay somebody to do anything. We have to start with the free stuff first. And then if we need a lot of extra help, if we want to, we can engage and go to a spa, right? Or go get a massage. But people have to remember that self-healing tools are inside of us. Stop searching elsewhere. First, turn inward. So sleep schedule. We don't know, like people tend to think that, you know what, I am a late person. I never go to sleep. So I'm not an early bird. I am an owl, right? There's no such a thing. This is a learned habit. And it could be learned from very early childhood, and just people don't notice that transition. And then before you know it, you find yourself that you never go to sleep before 2 a.m. But you don't know that if you don't go to sleep before 11, you are not processing your emotions. You are not your liver is not detoxing. Your lymphatic system is not working properly. So you wake up feeling tired or more refreshed. Yes, you may sleep until noon, but it doesn't mean that your body is asleep. Our organs wake up no matter what at certain time and go to sleep no matter what at certain time. And if we do not help it, if we don't go to sleep with our organs or wake up with our organs, so we live in dissonance. And dissonance takes us away from harmony. Self-healing is about harmony. Our body does everything to keep that perfect balance inside of us. And it will always, always, always try to save us. And the problem in modern society that our body, what we engage in so many activities like in dissonance with our body, that our body is kind of working so tirelessly and it gives up. And when the body gives up, a disease shows up or negative symptoms shows up. So sleep schedule is number one. Drinking water. Everybody drinks water. It doesn't matter what kind of water, how much of water, but as simple as drinking the right amount of water at the right amount of time, at the right times, will eliminate a lot of disease. Most diseases are diseases of chronic dehydration that people don't know about. Same thing, movement. Walking is free. Like people think that they have to buy, what's that expensive machine? I forget what it's called, like the one you get it with the trainer. People think that they have to buy this. My husband, actually, his line of work, that he assembles a lot of things. And he's like, you know how many people call me to assemble a treadmill? And then the same people call him to disassemble it a year later because they never got on it. So I always say, like, before you want to invest in a treadmill, then you know what? Try walking. If you can walk in a park or in your neighborhood for a year, half a year, or even like 3 months, then maybe you can invest. Maybe you have this this desire in you that you're going to carry it on, and then you're going to get on treadmill. But don't waste your money. Self-healing is inside of you. Nature has taught everything for us. Many years ago, look at hundreds of years ago, there was no treadmill. How did people exercise? They got in the fields, right? They bent down to work on earth. They carried stuff. They worked physically. Ask a person who works physical jobs right now, like ask them if they feel depressed, or ask them if they feel like if they work physical, especially if they are in touch with nature, they don't have any of these problems. And this is what we lost. So that's why natural healing is about simple things that you can incorporate before you get into something bigger. And in my, like on my channel, I share a lot of remedies, and I always say to people, remedies are fantastic. They are the tool that will help your body, will support your body. But it all starts at the basic level. Like if you continue damaging your body, and you think that the remedy I share is going to solve your problem, I'm sorry to break it to you, but you are mistaken. Because a remedy, natural remedy, is much better than medicinal, like pharmaceutical intervention, right? Because it doesn't give you the side effect. It doesn't cause any damage to your organs. However, it is still a band-aid if you don't do these basic steps. So does it make sense?
Yes, absolutely. You're dropping a ton of jewels right there, Oksana. Oksana is literally educating us about the importance of natural and holistic health, you all. And so, definitely, if you are just tuning in, you need to go back and listen to this replay and catch all of the jewels that Oksana is already dropping at the beginning of our episode, you all. And so, Oksana, we're going to give you a quick commercial break while we honor our VIP sponsor for today's episode. Each and every episode, we honor a sponsor who is a service provider or an entrepreneur or a business owner for our episodes. And so let's go ahead and see who our VIP sponsor is for today, you all. Let's take a look and see who our VIP sponsor or affiliate partner is for today's episode, you all. So shout out again to our VIP sponsor for today, which comes from none other than Orgain Organic Protein. If you are someone who is into switching up your protein powder for those who are athletes or those who work out or do personal fitness, our team swears by Orgain Organic Protein, which is our affiliate partner for today. And they have pea protein, which is much cleaner and digestive on the system than whey protein. And so plant-based protein. You can get an exclusive, I believe it's 30% off discount with using the code SMART, SMART, JEWLZ, SMART Jewelz at checkout to one of their products or one of their products that you would like to purchase in receiving this discount. And so shout out to our VIP affiliate partner today, Orgain Organic Protein. And if you are interested in being one of our partners for the RTJ show as a sponsor or an affiliate, click the link that we're putting in the comment section below. But back to you, Oksana. We just wanted to definitely highlight our VIP affiliate partner for today. But I know you were mentioning to others and speaking about like water. We talk to a lot of different health and wellness, either influencers or experts about like what type of water should we be taking into our system, because the media and even the news outlets will have you in a frenzy and literally pulling your hair out thinking that all the water is polluted and contaminated. But what do you recommend, especially in your profession, for those who are wanting to increase their water or even have the best water for their system?
Yeah, well, funny you say that, because just yesterday I scheduled a live for my subscribers. I do have subscriber channel on my Instagram, and I'm going to talk about water. I actually called it "Don't drink your water until you watch this." So, and by my first profession, see, I studied chemistry of water, and that was, I want to tell you, back 20 years ago, we had an assignment where we had to take water from like a natural source, and then we were going to take 6 months, the whole semester, to test it. And because we lived in all different cities and I studied in Lviv, which is a large city, right? I forgot to bring my water from my lake in my hometown. So I went and I bought it. But I lied. I said that I took it from a lake. And guess what? The water from my friend's lake was cleaner than the water, filtered water from that store. And unfortunately, this is a very sad situation that is happening right now in the United States. I'm yet to do like a big study, like I really wanted to look into all different all specs of different water companies. But here's the thing, and I spoke to this about with my father-in-law. My father-in-law, actually, my husband is from Moldova, and my father-in-law was for many years. He worked in Ministry of standards in Moldova, where he was translating different European standards and for different foods, and water is one of them too. So, and I talked to him about it. So this, unfortunately, in the United States, they're not required to list like mineral content on the water bottle. And if you really want to look what's inside that water, you have to, they make it very difficult. You have to go and like on their website and maybe scroll down and, you know, through like different channels. And then even then you don't find a lot of details. So I think that they are not required to list it. But the best water is the water that is from a natural spring that was bottled at the source. I'm yet to find that water. I'm yet to find it. I literally I took time and I bought like maybe 10 different kinds of water from like Whole Foods. And some of them were from like a set, like I think one or two were only bottled at the source and they were from natural spring, but the mineral content was way too low. So that's, if you cannot get that, then second thing would be get a good filtered water. But here's the thing, and I don't really want to get into a lot of details because I can talk about water for hours. Water has memory. So chemical composition matters, but energetical composition matters even more. And when we talk about natural healing, we not only talk on the physical level, but we also talk about emotional, or any a disease starts always at emotional level before it manifests on a physical level. So that's why the best thing you can do is to get, read the label of the water. pH of the water, yes, you want to look at the water that says, alkaline, more out towards alkalinity. But also the best way you can change the energetic composition of that water, I'll give you one because there are several things. I'll give you the easiest one, is to freeze it. Once you freeze it and then you tow it, that water, you kind of reset the memory of the water. You restructure the water. So you're not going to be changing the chemical composition of the water. So it's still going to be H2O with whatever mineral content it started, but it's going to wipe clear the memory of the water. And water has memory, meaning before that water, once upon a time, that water wasn't a natural source, right? But then it was maybe transported, and then it was bottled, and then it was filtered. So water remembers all of those steps. And then if you take your water from a faucet, for example, it remembers the step. It remembers how it entered, if it makes sense to you. But it remembers how it was traveling through the pipes. It remembers the chemicals that were used to filter it. So you don't want to ingest any of this on inside your body, because it's going to leave an energetic imprint on your DNA level. So that's one thing that I recommend that everybody does. But then when it comes to chemical composition, adding lemon to your water will make it more alkaline, or lemon essential oil. So those are the things. So maybe one day I will find the water that I really like. If you can invest in one of those home filtration system, I don't want to advertise any companies, but there is this, like, it's pretty expensive, but it allows you to give you different alkalinities of the water, like regulate whether you want water to be more acidic, more alkaline. That's a good choice. But other than that, avoid soft plastic bottles. It's best to buy in a glass bottle. However, it's expensive. And from chemical point of view, from my knowledge and my discussion with my father-in-law and everything, like a harder plastic, something like this, is more inert. So you can do this. But then those softer ones, the one that literally, like when you open the bottle, like the water spills, so you definitely want to stay away from those. And drinking enough water, because like I said in the very beginning, most chronic diseases are nothing else but diseases of chronic dehydration. When your body, so for example, I give you one example. Doctor prescribing a diuretic medicine that makes you urinate more because somebody retains fluid. But fluid retention is actually your body telling you, I am dehydrated. You know what? I'm going to hold on to this fluid and I'm going to pull it into your legs just in case you're not going to give me more fluid tomorrow. So when your body is constantly living in a state of drought, the body is going to conserve as much water as possible, because the water is a diluent. We are made of water. So if we don't have enough water, that means we don't have enough medium to dilute the toxins that are inside of our body. So that's just one example, and there are many of them like that. So you want to drink. I'm going to give you a formula: half of your body weight in pounds, but in ounces. So, for example, if you weigh like 200 pounds, you want to drink 100 ounces of water a day, at least. This is so you properly flush your cells. But then it doesn't mean that right now, after the show, you have to run and then drink like right away a liter of water. No, you have to reteach your body to rehydrate it very, very slowly.
That's a ton of jewels right there, Oksana, that you're dropping. I always have as my motto to say, stay hydrated, and especially think like H2O, like water. And I'm someone, just as you mentioned, that goes directly to the source. We got some phenomenal springs here in Georgia, and even going to the Tennessee borderline. And so I'm just on the same line like Oksana is telling us. I don't trust the bottled water in the companies, in the stores anymore. I have to go to the spring, go to the source, and even at worst case scenario, go to mineral or well water if I had to. But you're dropping a ton of jewels on how to stay hydrated and why it's important to know where your water source is coming from, especially. Wisdom listeners, if you have any questions from what Oksana is dropping with her jewels tonight, feel free to come on to the stage and ask any questions. But Oksana, we definitely wanted to touch on like teas and herbs and herbs. I know you speak a lot about different teas and different special herbal remedies and things of that. Like what are some of...
Yeah, I actually, not so much on teas and herbs, even though I do utilize, but I'm not an herbalist per se. But what I focus heavily on is food as your medicine. So if you look, a lot of my remedies are based on foods. And that is because that's most accessible, right? A lot of people have it in their kitchen. And I believe that we are what we eat. So self-healing starts with food. And right now, where we live, in the era that we live, plant-based is the diet that you should turn in to heal your body. That's a universal. Even if you don't do anything else, you may not move as much. Well, you need to drink, but plant-based is your answer. And why is that? Because life has changed, food has changed. Animals that were eaten before have changed. The quality and everything changed. So you have to be ahead of the game. You have to look at the bigger picture. When we talked about traditions, when you asked me about Ukraine and you said like, oh, what do you like about Ukraine? Yes, traditions. But you know what? Does it mean I eat the same way that I ate 20 years ago? Or Ukrainian kitchen is still the same, the cuisine, right? We eat a lot of potatoes, but right now I know this is not what's the best for my body. So unfortunately, sometimes you have to detach yourself from traditions or from what used to be for 100 years, because now you are now. And now we have different kinds of foods. So that's very important to understand. When people say that, you know what, you know how you go to the doctor and the doctor says your family history, hypertension, cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure. Well, this is not the diseases that run in families, but this is the diets that run in families that cause these diseases. We are what we eat because food is our fuel. So if you don't go to a gas station and tell them, give me the worst gas possible, right? Or dilute it with water so I save money, because you know your car's not going to run on that. So you try to stick to what manufacturer recommends. Guess what? Manufacturer right now recommends that you eat more plant-based, that you turn into nature. This is what natural is about. We're not born predators. And how do you know that? Look at your teeth. You don't have the teeth of the predator. You don't have those, what do you call those? The sharp teeth that you can eat meat. We were not born carnivores. No matter what people say, oh, this paleo diet, if you really look at the history, this is not what people ate. So that's why that's any remedies that I share, like I said, incorporate your foods, the items that you eat. Make food to be your medicine. What's the saying? Eat your food as your medicine, so you don't eat your medicine as your food, right?
Absolutely. No, that's definitely important. Keep going with that point too, because people need to
And
know.
then when it comes to herbs and when it comes to different teas, they're all there to support our body. So when we enter a cycle where our body needs a little help, and that's like if you live stressful lifestyle, that's always by adding like natural juices and more water and herbal teas, you are helping your body perform with less stress. That means you have less chance of breaking. And actually, when we develop some sort of negative symptoms, we're not actually breaking. It is our body talking to us. And that's one of the things about natural healing. Natural healing, when you enter the path of natural healing, the first thing, well, you have to have a desire, but then you have to learn, make it a mission to learn to listen to your body and interpret different messages. Our body first whispers to us, and then it speaks louder and louder and louder. And when we come with some sort of come down with catastrophic illness, that's our body have had enough. And the body said, you know what? That's it. I cannot do this anymore. Our body never wants to cause us harm. Our body has one job only. It is to save us from self-suicide, save us from ourselves. So body never caught like any negative symptoms, whether it's high blood pressure, maybe aches and pains, is our body telling us something is not okay there. So maybe turn into natural stuff. And then here, when you drink maybe a little chamomile tea, or you make that remedy that, you know, like with your kitchen ingredients, your body is going to then take it and use it as a support. And then natural is important because it doesn't give you any side effects, negative side effects, unlike pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals, when we look at, they have a place to be for acute situations, absolutely. However, for not for like people are used to, like in this country especially. Pharmaceutical is like you fix one thing and you break 10 other things. So turning into natural, turning into inward and listening to your body, that's all you need to do. And that's very, very simple and very easy.
Absolutely. And stay with that point too. Like what type of foods, I was gonna ask with plant-based. I'm plant-based and also vegan, but I'm alkaline vegan. Like what are some foods or some vegetables, fruits, nuts, grains, all the things that you discussed that people should start to get started on if they're just joining into a plant-based lifestyle or trying to literally detox or cleanse their body before going plant-based? What are
Yeah,
things?
yeah, definitely. And even though I'm not a dietitian, but I do, let's say, what I have detox marathons. I have a program that I always incorporate diet into the program, because you cannot detox if you do the same things that you've done. But the first thing is increase your live foods. The problem of today's society, if you look at it, people don't eat live foods. They think that they eat iceberg lettuce, like a handful, and 95% of cooked. You just ate 5% of live and 95% of dead food. But guess what? The bacteria in your gut is alive. It is not. What's the animals that are what are those birds that are eating like dead bodies? No, that you don't have that. If your bacteria is alive, you need to feed it live foods. So the first thing before you even turn into plant-based, or before you ditch meat, or before you ditch fish, it is increase your live foods and vegetables more so. Like in your diet, fruits have a place to be, but fruits have to be only about 10%. Then another like 60 to 70%, 70 is better, is different colorful vegetables. And then only we have 10 to 20% cooked food. That's the ideal diet of a naturally healed body or naturally supported body. And if you eat this way, you're not going to need anything else, because you're going to give your body and taking some supplements too. Unfortunately, like if you ask me, like hundreds of years ago, the soil was different, the foods were richer. But now even the soil is depleted, and a lot of soils are contaminated, right? So we don't get the same nutrients that we used to. So taking some sort of nutrients. And if I may kind of touch on protein, since you had a sponsor as a protein, people wrongfully think that, well, I need to eat animal foods because I need protein. But guess what? What is a protein? Protein is the building block of any living thing on earth. Anything. It could be a bacteria, it could be food, it could be a plant. So protein is present in plants as well, and it's much more bioavailable for our body. Our cells cannot utilize a protein molecule because it's too big. It's like you ask a mouse to swallow an elephant. But before our cell can use that protein, our digestive system has to break it into smaller pieces, which are what? Amino acids. So our cells need amino acids. And plants have amino acids. They are much smaller, much easier for our body to break it down, much easier to digest and deliver. So you save more energy to enjoy life. So when you eat your lunch, you don't want to go to sleep, but you want to go and maybe hang out with your friends, or want to do something. If you eat your lunch or your dinner and you want to go to sleep, something is wrong with your lunch or dinner. So our body needs amino acids, not an animal protein. So you can perfectly get them from plant-based sources.
Yes, absolutely. Y'all make sure you are paying attention. Oksana is dropping the jewels. I'm not hearing it just from myself, because y'all know we talk about the real health and wellness on our podcast show. But you're hearing from an expert, especially in letting us know that we need to start shifting our mindset, if we haven't already, to get into more of a plant-based lifestyle, you all. I think, Oksana, we have a question too coming from Wisdom for you. Let me see if we have them coming up.
And another thing, as we're waiting for a question, is stop eating all the time. If you look at our culture here, we are taught to eat all the time. I look at my daughter's school. My daughter is in elementary school. Well, right now she's in 4th grade, so they don't have snacks. But basically, the way their day is structured, they snack, then they eat, and then they snack again. It's like she's always eating.
Yes, hold that point right there, Oksana, because I want to make sure we get this question in for you. I see Dak Frederick is joining us on the Wisdom Act. Dak, can you hear me?
Yes, I sure can.
Appreciate you joining our live session for today. Do you have any question for Oksana that you want to have her address, or wanted to make any comments to what we're speaking about today?
Yes, sir. I sure would. I do have kind of a comment slash, maybe she could elaborate on this a little bit. Definitely, I love the topic that y'all are talking about. One thing that I wanted to just kind of bring up is, you got to excuse me, I'm a little bit out of breath. I was doing some headstands earlier. So, but one thing that I started my journey, several years ago, into plant-based and different things like that. And I eat meat now and different things like that, but, we still focus on, trying to stay alkaline. And one of the things that I was not aware of beforehand was that when introducing, uncooked or more raw plant-based type foods, is that you might not have had the enzymes in order to break that down, because it takes a little bit more to actually break those type of foods down. And so as a result, I would find that the meals were just it just lingered in my stomach for a long time and those type of things. But can you speak to somebody who may find like, man, I'm eating these things, but it just feels like the salad's just sitting in my stomach. It's not it's not moving. It's not really digesting like the way it should. If you can speak to there's things I've heard about, like MCT oils. I haven't tried any of that. I did digestive enzymes for a little while. That actually worked. Tried the ACV with some water before you eat. My wife sometimes does HCL, so I'm just kind of wondering what your experience is with that, and if you have any advice on how to on maybe some more natural ways to make sure that you're supporting your body and you have the right type of enzymes to break down that plant-based food.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And it's not uncommon when you transition, because we have to realize our chemistry, our body, our chemistry of our stomach juices, digestive juices changes according to our habits. And same goes with bacteria in our gut. So when we constantly feed one thing and don't ever eat something else, that those digestive enzymes are getting suppressed, and those bacteria in our gut are also getting suppressed. So then we have a disbalance. So in order to bring that balance back, several things. What you mentioned is fantastic. Number one is digestion starts in your mouth. So when chewing properly is the first thing that we don't do. Have you heard the expression, chew your liquids, drink your solids? So this is the free thing that anybody can do, is to chew your food to the point where it is liquid. It's almost difficult to do if you're not used to doing it, for several reasons. Number one, physically, you're going to want to swallow before. But number two is we are not used to eating mindfully. So mindful eating is about eating undistracted, sitting down where actually you're thinking about what you're eating. So that's the first intervention, is chewing more, chewing to the point, because then those digestive enzymes are being released, and it signals your stomach to release the right amount of food. Now, digestive enzymes from outside, those are fantastic, and those should be taken all the time. They prolong life. Digestive enzymes, when we are born with preset amount of digestive enzymes. So almost like, think of like you have a bank account, like you have an asset, like $1 million in your bank account. And the return on investment during life is very little. So our pancreas makes very little bit of those digestive enzymes. We mostly using them up. As long as we have some balance on that account, we are alive. The moment we run out of balance, we're dead. I'm sorry to say that, but our cells cannot live without digestive enzymes. So therefore, when we take digestive enzymes from outside with our food, we are giving a little bit of a break to our pancreas. We are improving our digestive, and we are prolonging our life. So we are not drawing from that bank account, but rather we're using a free pass. So that's another thing, like apple cider vinegar. So it takes time. So now apple cider vinegar, fantastic. Absolutely love apple cider vinegar. Taking it before your food helps to change the composition of your stomach. But then once you start chewing properly, you should have like relief right away. It shouldn't sit in your stomach. Then if you take digestive enzymes, it should help you as well. but then it takes probably, I would say, up to 3 months for you to really start seeing a big difference, because then you need to change the population of your digestive tract and your colon and your intestines. Does it make sense?
Yes, I love all that feedback that you're giving, Dak, Frederick, Oksana. A shout out to Wisdom for all of our listeners on Wisdom and Twitter Spaces, getting exclusive first dibs and access to our episode before it even premieres with Oksana. But yeah, shout out to Dak Frederick, who was one of our guests that just asked Oksana a question. Oksana, you want to add something else real quick?
Yeah, and then what may help is also, before you transition to more raw, is you blanch it a little bit. So basically, you just cook it for 1 minute, so to kind of soften it a little bit, and then proceed slowly. I've had people like in my programs when they shifted, because when we do a detox marathon, it's fast, right? It's happening. And people go like, why am I constipated? Because your gut is literally in shock. Your gut is like, what the heck is she feeding me? Who am I supposed to send to digest that? You know, the gut is in disbelief and it's in confusion. So you need to support it. Like, you need to be very patient there, and then go slow. And as you change your dietary habits, your taste will change too.
Absolutely. I love it. Shout out to, again, any of our audience members that are asking Oksana any health and wellness questions on how to heal the body naturally using holistic practices. I know, Oksana, we definitely will have to bring you back for a part 2, because I know we've reached our final segment for today. You dropped a ton of jewels on literally how people need to get their body in check in order to heal the body naturally. But for our final jewel segment, we always allow our guests to leave a final piece of wisdom, a final jewel with our audience of what we can take from this interview today. We've talked about your beginnings and how you got into the wellness space and even into the healthcare space. We've talked about how you broke down to your clients and also to your patrons about having the right water intake, the right hydration methods, the food, the plant-based lifestyle. What's one thing that you would like to leave with our audience as a final jewel for today?
The final jewel is, remember, self-healing is not only possible, but it's easy. And it is very important to do it with people who support you. So if you're someone who wants to heal your body naturally, but you don't have support of your family, that's okay. Don't try to change your family. Find a community that will support you and move in that direction. And the first step, as I said before, is start listening to your body's cues and start trying to interpret them and understand what your body is talking. So, and it all starts with one little step at a time. It has to be regular. You have to show up for yourself regularly. So self-healing is not only possible, it's easy if you show up for yourself regularly and you have the support of a community of like-minded people.
I love it. Definitely got to stay with the community, you all. Just like Oksana said, wellness communities are big, especially so post the pandemic. And so get tapped in. Which goes to our last point, Oksana. How can people stay in touch with you if they want to solicit your services, or if they just want to follow your content that you produce on social? What's ways they can stay in touch with you?
Yeah, so I'm present on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Same handle, no RX needed, which literally means without prescription, because this is what we should strive to. We should try to live without prescriptions. So no RX needed.
Absolutely. So y'all go follow Oksana on TikTok, IG, Facebook, and even on her YouTube channel at NORX needed, NEEDED, no RX needed, on all of her social media handles. Oksana, it's been a pleasure serving with you today. What we always have is a final blessing over our guests before they go, because we want to thank you for taking your time out to sow seeds with our audience. But if you've been blessed, audience members, by today's episode, feel free to sow a seed. We always believe believe in sowing into good soil where you're able to reap from. And so there's 3 ways to give. You could either Cash App a donation at Cash App Smart, SMART, JEWELZ, or you can click the link that we're putting in the comment section to become a monthly Patreon with us, or you can purchase some of our new merch that we just launched for this season, some exclusive hoodies and also some different apparel that we're going to be launching going into the spring and summer. And so, Oksana, we definitely want to say a quick prayer over you to thank you for your time. And then we for sure have to take another part 2 to have you come back and drop even more jewels to our audience today.
Thank you. The pleasure is all mine.
Absolutely. I'm going to say a quick prayer over you and then let you enjoy the rest of your day. Father, I just want to thank you for Oksana. I thank you for her passion and purpose, and also for just having her be a healer and show others how to self-heal without the needs of doctors, without the needs of even hospitals, but just having a voice and a teacher like Oksana and other who are wellness practitioners, helping us find the knowledge and also act out the knowledge that we are given. And so we thank you for her business. We thank you for her calling and even for her ministry, what she is sowing onto others. We pray that you will allow her to reap 80, 90, and 100-fold on all the investments that she's sown into for others' lives. And we pray that she will even have new doors and opportunities of partnerships open up and clients open up from just today's interview that she's had with us today. We love you, Father. I thank you for this time you've allowed us to share, and I give you all the glory, honor, and praise. And it's in Jesus, Yeshua's name, I pray and believe. Amen.
Amen.
We appreciate you, Oksana, for coming on. We definitely are going to be in touch, and you continue to heal others and show others the way for their healing journey. And we thank you for taking time out of your schedule to share the jewels with us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll talk soon, and have a great rest of the week. Peace. Bye. All right, y'all. I'm going to do a quick wrap up, some quick jewels for thought. You heard from my very special guest, Oksana. She dropped a ton of jewels on you all, myself included. She's very active on social, so go support her and also her business at No RX Needed on TikTok, IG, Facebook, and YouTube. And definitely go and support your own health by taking a stand for what you are going to do different with your wellness and also with your health this year. And so if this is your first time joining us, you can subscribe to our podcast on all podcast streaming platforms. And then also check out our services. We have media services that we just launched this season. So go and check out our services and our trips. We're going on taking international content creator summits and trips throughout the world, Africa, Asia, the Caribbean, and Central South America. And so go and take a look at our services at www.smartjewelzenterprises.org. That's smartjewelzenterprises.org. And also you can follow us on IG at Smart Jewels Enterprises or myself at King Jewels Speaks. Those are all of my jewels for thought for today. You definitely need to go out and take the time to share this content with someone that can benefit from it, and go and watch the replay if this is just you tuning in just now to hear what was discussed. I totally believe in self-healing and healing the body naturally, but you got to start the journey on your own, you all. So we'll see you all